Good morning, gang. Thursday morning. Okay. If you've been paying attention over the last few years, you realize, you probably go back a few decades at this point, but you probably realize that there is a worldwide plan to, eliminate people, okay? Be it the Georgia Guidestones, be it the depopulation agenda, be it Bill Gates and all his insane ideas, be it Tony Fauci, pick something, okay? National Institute of Health, whatever you want to talk about. But the whole climate change group, we're going to kill humanity. Understand this is all a plan. This is all a front. They are trying to do this. We have to get rid of people. People are killing the planet, right? Okay. And as much as we all understand that their ideas are bullshit, it's not preventing them from moving forward with their plans. Remember a couple of years ago when we all said CV was a test run? Yeah, okay. We can pretty much agree with that. Remember we need 60%, then we need 70%, then we need 80%. They wanted to see how compliant we all would be. And it kind of failed. And worldwide, we had millions of people die. That wasn't enough. So they need something worse. Hence, we now have H5N1 and now H5N2, okay? Remember in the opening days of CV, January 2020 or something, you turn on the news and there were 3 people have now died. And most everybody, including me at the point, was saying 3 people, big deal. More people than that die in car accidents in, a small town. More people get shot on the south side of Chicago in a couple hours. And then it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then we wound up with all the craziness, the shutting down of the economy, closing businesses, people getting laid off, social distancing, masks, stickers on the grocery store floors, plexiglass, whatever, right? And for the period of about 18 months, we were all in crazy town, okay? I mean, nobody went to work. People lost jobs. The military got thrown out because they refused to take the Fauci ouchie. Guess what? We're now ramping up for what's worse, and we are in the opening throes of it. Conveniently right before an election again. Okay, so you wonder how this is playing out. Let's take a look at some of the things. We have an election going on. All of a sudden, Fauci's testifying this week. It's not us. Look, we're innocent. We're not doing anything. Right? Okay. Let me give you what's going on. We now have the first confirmed death from H5N1. All right. Take a look at this. This is coming out from Mexico. The person that died was in Mexico City. On May 23rd, the Mexico IHR NFP reported the World Health Organization a confirmed case of human infection with avian influenza virus detected in a 59-year-old resident of the state of Mexico who was hospitalized in Mexico City and had no history of exposure to poultry or other animals. The case had multiple underlying medical conditions. The case's relatives reported that the case had already been bedridden for 3 weeks for other reasons prior to the onset of acute symptoms. On 17 April, the case developed fever, shortness of breath, diarrhea, nausea, and general malaise. On 24 April, the case sought medical attention, was hospitalized at the National Institute of Respiratory Diseases, and died the same day due to complications of his condition. Okay. So now how does he get bird flu if he had no exposure to birds and no exposure to other animals? Well, this is where the interesting part comes in. They are thinking that it was exposure to mice. Now, think about this. How many mice are around? I don't care where you are. You're in the country, you're in the suburbs, you're in the city. Mice live in very close proximity to people, okay? They're in office buildings, they're in restaurants, they're in your house, under your house, whatever. I mean, scurrying through your floorboards, hiding under the house. I mean, I found them. I live in the country, okay? I found them here. I've got rat snakes that live around my house, which is good. They eat mice, okay? I've got mouse traps under the house. I've caught them in traps. When we first moved in the house, I found a hole underneath the stove where the propane came in and the mice were able to get in the house, okay? Of course, I've since sealed all that off. Haven't seen any mice since. Doesn't mean they don't exist. Here's this. What am I saying? House mice have become the latest mammal to become infected with H5N1 bird flu, sparking fears that the almost omnipresent pests could spread the virus to humans. 11 house mice in the state of New Mexico, where several herds of dairy cattle are affected with H5N1, tested positive for the avian influenza. New data released by the U.S. Department of Agriculture has shown. Okay. Now, this is what gets concerning, because we had a congressperson come out the other day and say that all the cows in the country should be checked for H5N1. All the chickens, all the birds, whatever, turkeys, grouse, whatever, that people raise need to be checked for H5N1 before they ever enter the food supply. What the concern is that these mice in New Mexico, which were around cattle, got the disease from drinking raw, unfiltered cow milk, okay? And again, anything that drips. I mean, if you've ever milked a cow, okay, you're careful. I mean, if you got automatic milking machines, one thing, but I mean, a lot of buckets, do whatever. Something might spill, something might splash, and the mice drink it, okay? If all of a sudden we have H5N1 spread to mice, this is a concern. I want you to remember this: the bubonic plague was spread by mice, okay? It might be worthwhile, depending on you, okay? Again, you do what you feel is best for you. If this doesn't apply to you, if you think, hey, there's no mice around me, great, okay? You can click the little X, no big deal. I'm just advising people on what's going on. You might want to get some mouse traps, okay? And make sure that you don't have mice, okay? You put mouse traps. In case don't use cheese, peanut butter is about your best bait on a mouse trap, okay? Most of us should all have peanut butter in our preps anyway. Just to make sure. Because if we have anything that went back to the first few days of CV, January 2020, and we see on the news, 3 people, no big deal. But then 3 wound up 30, wound up 300, wound up 3,000, wound up 30,300, 3 million, and we kept going, and y'all remember what we got into. Y'all have scientists around the world saying that bird flu could kill between 30 and 50% of the population. Don't forget, like I said at the beginning, Georgia Guidestones, depopulation, Bill Gates, Tony Fauci, Klaus Schwab, everybody want to eliminate a lot of the population. If you think about the interesting part, where are mice prevalent? Well, basically everywhere. Who do they want to get rid of? Well, let's see. In the rural areas, you have a lot of conservatives. In the urban areas, you have a lot of minorities. That's the two groups of people that the globalists don't want. Remember, all the projectionism that they have. Your liberal, progressive, globalist crowd is by far the most racist group of people in the world. No question. I mean, don't believe me? Look at all the comments made about what's going on in the Middle East right now. Okay? They project all sorts of great ways of, oh, we're trying to help you. And I will say for the millionth time, all right, urban community, black community, please tell me what the Democrats have promised you that they've ever delivered on. You can't, because they've never delivered on any of them. Okay. Conservatives, obviously, we all know we're persona non grata to the globalist cabal. We all know where COVID came from. We all know the dwarf that was very, very important in getting it up and running. Okay. I mean, he's testifying right now, getting slaughtered by conservatives for all the payoffs he got for it. Okay. How soon is it going to be until we have another friend to protect us from this? Right? How soon is it going to be till we have mask requirements, shutdowns, social distancing, yada-da-da-da, again, right? All right in front of an election that Joe's getting his ass handed to him in. But hey, if we're in a national crisis, look at me. The only problem is, like everything else, it'll backfire. Because again, remember when CV started? January of 2020. The reason it's called COVID-19 is because the D is for December of 19. And everything started rolling out in January 2020. The election wasn't until November of 2020. Correct me if I'm wrong, but we went through all of that and somehow managed to change political parties in the White House. We plan on doing that again, the American public. The powers that be, the global elite, the criminal cabal that is the Democratic Party, doesn't want it to happen. So they're going to do whatever they can to make life hell. Reason number 8,472,913 why you need to prepare yourself to be able to live, not just survive, but live within the confines of your own property. Because it would not surprise me one bit if a month from now or so we hear 4th of July celebrations are canceled, no more buying chicken, you know, hey, because we can all afford $10 a pound ground beef, right? Lockdowns, we're shutting down the economy, nobody's going to work, et cetera, et cetera. Get ready. This is coming again. They talk about lawfare against Trump. It's economic warfare against the people. Pinball out.